Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about a number of exciting developments on Hedera, including how Hedera could power the medical industry, and we'll be talking about updates on Hedera. So before we talk about the main story today, I'd like to show you a clip which features the executive director at the HBAR Foundation, Rob Allen, going into detail and providing insights about how some of the Hedera Governing Council members are set to directly use Hedera's network for their own use cases.
We've now got a machine to onboard and deliver these enterprise projects, which is really healthy. Can't name names, but we've got, I think, 5 big enterprises, 4 of which are Governing Council members currently in program, delivering a variety of use cases from identity to supply chain to rewards. So, some really nice, big, meaty, true enterprise use cases. We're onboarding another 6 right now, so that most of those have been approved via our grant committee process and are currently in the contracting stage. So we're about to kick off those projects. 3 of those, I think, are governing council, and we're getting a lot more stablecoin, paymency, infrastructure use cases as well. So that's really cool. But I'm most excited about the pipeline. We've got a qualified pipeline now where we're working to kind of shape the use cases, shape the propositions before they come into the onboarding process. So we try to make sure that the proposition, the use case, the ideas are reasonably well formed prior to coming throughout our onboarding process, leading up into the grant committee.
So as detailed by Alan, a number of the Hedera Governing Council members and other large organisations around the world are at the centre and are directly looking at utilising Hedera's network for their own use cases. So it makes no surprise really as to why the Hedera Governing Council members are looking to use Hedera's network, especially due to such Governing Council members already having insights in regards to the use cases Hedera provides, including Hedera's innate qualities in terms of its high TPS, its scalability, and its cost effectiveness. So very exciting for Hedera, and it'll be interesting to see which Hedera Governing Council members do choose to utilise Hedera's network for their own use cases, and how this could impact the overarching Hedera network and potentially HBAR token holders, especially over the long run. So very exciting. So let's talk about some of the main stories today. So firstly, I'd like to talk about the number of transactions being actively validated on Hedera, where Hedera's network has seen incremental increases in the transactions per second on the overarching Hedera public network, where the figures here actually illustrate and indicate the increase in the number of TPS over the last few months, days, and even weeks. So it indicates how Hedera's network is slowly becoming more widely utilized, and even on a daily basis, Hedera's network is becoming more heavily used. So with all of these developments and the incremental increase in the usage of Hedera's network, this all goes back to the overall transactions actively validated on Hedera's mainnet, where according to this graphic here, over 14 billion transactions have been authorized on Hedera's mainnet, and these transactions have been enabled through a relatively normal TPS of around 1,500. So it goes to show how widely utilized Hedera's network is, and as I mentioned before, the over 19 billion transactions on Hedera's mainnet makes Hedera the most widely utilized DLT on the marketplace. So with overall increases in the overall utility of Hedera making it the most widely used network in the world, especially among DLTs, it goes to show how effective Hedera's network is and the innate qualities which makes Hedera highly attractive for a number of other developers across other industries, and even, as mentioned, their own Governing Council members choosing to leverage and implement Hedera's use cases into their very own fabric and framework. So very exciting for Hedera, and again it goes to show how highly attractive Hedera's network is in terms of its high TPS, its scalability, and other intrinsic qualities, including its security and immutability. So this graphic here from the official Hedera website, actually highlights to the innate qualities attached to Hedera, including the high finality rates, the low cost to verify a transaction, and the low energy produced per transaction. So these innate qualities are, again, highly attractive features which makes Hedera an ideal option of choice for network protocols, and as a result, more individuals, developers, and even nations and companies may choose to leverage and implement Hedera's use cases into their own infrastructure. So with all of these innate qualities, coupled with the most recent insights about the number of transactions authorized on Hedera's network over the last 24 hours, where over 133 million transactions have been authorized on Hedera. And this is extremely unique, especially among all other DLTs on the marketplace, where there's not too many other networks that can compete with Hedera in terms of transactions authorized and validated. And furthermore, the transactions authorized on Hedera aren't merely node-to-node communication, because I think I spoke about this a few videos ago, where the Hedera co-founder Mance Harmon actually provided insights and details about how the transactions authorized and present on Hedera are for real-world utilities and use cases. And this is in contrast to the majority of other networks on the marketplace, where transactions which are synonymous with other networks are typically due to node-by-node interactions and validation of transactions. So it goes to show, despite the significant amount of transactions authorized on Hedera, these key transactions are for real-world utilities and use cases. So it goes to show how Hedera is the go-to option for utility, and due to these innate qualities, more developers may choose to transition away from other DLTs or initially choose to build their offerings on Hedera from the get-go. So very exciting for Hedera, and it will be interesting to see how all these developments lead to, and whether these developments will lead to Hedera continuing to be the most widely utilized network on the marketplace, and whether it will be the go-to option compared to other DLTs. So another story I'd like to talk about is a recent partnership Hedera has entered into, where a healthcare monitoring application known as ReadyDoc has been actively built on Hedera, where ReadyDoc, a medical credentializing software developed by Intiva Health, is the first and only Hashgraph-based medical credentialing software to accelerate administrative workflows with the security of DLT. So if you go on to the ReadyDoc official website, it goes into a bit more depth about what their use cases provide. So as the tweet mentioned, ReadyDoc is the first and only medical provisionings which is set to directly implement and utilize DLT for, again, medical credentialing, communication and collaboration software activity and use cases. So the website provided by ReadyDoc actually highlighted to the number of direct affiliations the organization has, where it noted to how it has a direct partnership with Hedera, Swolls and all of these other organizations which are mainly centered around healthcare across a number of disciplines and even nations. So it goes to show how widely utilized this network is slowly becoming, and this only spells good news for Hedera, where, as previously mentioned in the tweet, this application is built on Hedera. So if potentially this network and offering sees increases in utility by its stakeholders or even customers, this will see synonymous increases to the amount of transactions authorized and validated on Hedera. And all of these factors will lead to increases in the demand for HBAR, where HBAR will be at the center of verifying such transactions. And as a result, this could potentially see further increases to the demand for HBAR, especially over the long run and as the market becomes more stabilized. So very exciting, and it'll be interesting to see how this development plays out. So the ReadyDoc website actually went into a bit more depth about how this development will play out, where it actually mentions to how healthcare organizations and medical providers use the software to accelerate the credentialing process, communicate securely, and maintain their education requirements. So again, this is a credentialing platform application software. It indicates the number of use cases this software application provides, and again, it's all built and provided by Hedera's network. So another part of this website actually highlights how credentialing provided by ReadyDoc will therefore save time, money, and also reduce risk. So with all of these qualities, it could lead to more individuals within the medical field choosing to use ReadyDoc for their own use cases. So very exciting. So this segment here goes into a bit more depth about the messaging protocol surrounding ReadyDoc, and finally the about page on the website goes into a bit more depth about the organization and the number of developments this organization is at the center of and further developments. So extremely exciting, and it will be interesting to see how and whether more organizations choose to use ReadyDoc, as the offerings ReadyDoc is providing is quite effective and quite useful. And with ReadyDoc actively utilizing DLT into their use cases, most notably the Hedera network, this will see credentialing becoming more secure due to the immutability and security associated with DLT, most notably Hedera, coupled with the high TPS and the efficiency and low costs associated with the overarching Hedera network. So all of these innate qualities coupled together will make ReadyDoc potentially the go-to option for credentialing within the medical field, and this will have reverberating effects on Hedera as a whole, where increases, as I mentioned, in the demand for the use cases of ReadyDoc will have reverberating effects on the utility of Hedera, and this will see potentially the transactions authorized on the overarching Hedera network increasing over time, and this could speed up the transaction volume which is already being harnessed and authorized on a daily basis on Hedera, and Hedera could continue to be the most widely utilized network for years to come. So finally, I'd like to show you the following tweet, which actually goes into detail about the fees attached to competitor DLTs, including in this case the Ethereum network, where at the moment the average gas fees on Ethereum amounts to around $27, and this is 20% higher compared to a year ago. So it indicates how the transaction validation on Ethereum is purely determined by the amount of traffic occurring on its network at a given time, and this is in stark contrast to Hedera, for example, where in the case of the Hedera network, transaction validation capacity and gas fees attached to the utility of Hedera are fixed. So there's a lot more stability in terms of the validation of transactions on Hedera and the pricing scheme surrounding Hedera as compared to other DLTs, in this example Ethereum. So the high fees attached to the transaction validation on Ethereum has led to transactions on Ethereum being 13,000 times more expensive than transactions on Hedera, and this is the main reason as to why Hedera's network has seen 100 million transactions being authorized on a daily basis, as compared to only 1 million transactions authorized on Ethereum on a given day. So these statistics all but indicate the superiority in terms of transaction validation on Hedera compared to, in this example, Ethereum, and it may be the main reason as to why more developers choose to transition away from the likes of Ethereum and base their offerings on Hedera. And this is coupled with the Solidity coding language already being accessible on Hedera, and I think I mentioned this a while back, but Solidity is the underlying coding language on Ethereum, so it'll be quite seamless and quite easy for developers to transition away and move from the likes of Ethereum and base and build their offerings on Hedera. So a number of reasons as to why Hedera could become more attractive for more developers as time progresses. What are your thoughts on Hedera? Are you excited about Hedera's usage in the medical industry? Let us know your views in the comments below. Thank you for watching Crypto Clan. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click on the notification bell. Let us know your views in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.